What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Saved Show. This is your host, Justin. This is a regularly updated audio and visual journal or blog of mine, if you will, where you get to see in real time as I struggle to become a better man, better husband, better father, and most importantly, you'll see as I walk closer to Christ each and every day. Christ is the primary. With that, as we open up the episode, I wanted to thank everyone for all the support lately. I know I say it all the time, but it continues to be true. Tons of growth on Instagram for this hobby of mine. Tons of growth on Spotify and podcasts, listens. So truly, thank you. I appreciate it. If you did want to continue to support the show, just tell somebody about it. Maybe get more listeners to the show, help us grow, and continue to keep growing. Another way to support the show is to check out the saved.store. That is the store page that I created and put out some, I think, cool designs. I'm wearing one today, actually, this one being my favorite, the cross, and it reads, "Not eager, forever willing." There's an episode that details the source of the design, so go check it out. But we're shutting down the store August 5th. I'll be turning it off. So right now there's a $5 discount on everything, every item, as well as a coupon code at checkout. So if you're listening to this, you are some of the few who know about this code. But in addition to the $5 per item off, there's also the code The Way at checkout, THEWAY, will get you another $5. So that's $10 off everything that you can use and take advantage of before time runs out. So we're going to move in another direction, find another platform, another website will be created for some other projects of mine. But for now, the saved.store is up. Go take advantage of that discount and get it while you can. I think I've got a shirt, sweatshirt, hat. I've got tons of my stuff, and I can wear stuff every day of the week, I think. So I'm kitted out. Hopefully you go out and grab some items, and you can be too. Another great way to support the show, the Save.store. And lastly, it would be great if you are listening to this, if you could listen on Spotify, if able. The listens on Spotify help me with the platform that I post through to get ads for the show. So just a couple more listens to hit 100. That's the standard or the metric within a month, 100 listens within a month, and then the ad threshold is met, and we can maybe get one of those instituted again. I took a month off, so ended the ad based on listens, but if we can get back to that threshold, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also wanted to say we are 100 listens away from 2,000, so in a year and a half, 2,000 listens, downloads. Pretty blessed to be able to say that, so I appreciate it. Thanks for all the support, and with that, we can dive into the show. So I talked about it last week, just kind of being in a funk, and I attributed it to that haze from the Canadian wildfires going across the country, and I'm not sure that that's what it was, but the funk has now lifted, if you will, so I should have some better episodes coming, at least things that I want to talk about. Anyways, I've got a list of possible topics on my phone here, and what I think I will do is I'll let the Spirit move me and kind of guide me on what to discuss next time. So got my list, and this morning actually would be an example of being called or encouraged by the Spirit to speak on a certain topic. So that's what we'll dive into today. When I started this project last year, this hobby, the saved part of the show meant, this is going to be a Christian platform, and I wanted to record just on things on my life. I always wanted to start a podcast, so I wanted to start a podcast, and I started a podcast. I also thought the saved could refer to ideas, thoughts, videos of me that would be saved for my children if they ever wanted to go back and listen to this kind of stuff. So messages to my children from me now to the future them to listen to. Maybe words of wisdom, maybe just getting to know their dad a little bit better. And we haven't done one of those in a while, so we'll do that today. Just kind of speaking to myself, certainly, on an important lesson, maybe other fathers out there but definitely to my son and potential future sons as they become fathers as well. So that's kind of where we're at as far as inspiration with where we're going. If you remember, the original logo, actually, tangent, for the Save Show was a floppy disk. And I thought that that was the coolest thing because I remember floppy disks from when I was a kid. But anyways, so being a father, not the best father, trying to be. My parents set a pretty high standard, so I'm trying to be the best dad that I can, and because I've got some great kids, daughter and a son and a daughter. Son came first, so he's the oldest. But as I think on lessons to pass on to him as far as fatherhood goes, I'm handling some of the stuff pretty well. He's at 2.5, so this is getting more and more important on what it is to be a man, setting a good example. I did a workout this morning with him in his playroom, so I was doing push-ups and he'd climb on my back, or I'd ask him to do push-ups next to me, or hey buddy, I'm doing the Spider-Man stretch, do you want to try? Trying to get the activity part down. And as I speak to you, listener, to you, my son, if you're listening to this in the future, this would be more of a fatherhood type of a lesson or piece of wisdom, if you will. And that's this. This is a phrase that I heard recently, and I know that it's very powerful because I had heard the lessons ahead of time, going to church sermons or listening to people speak on fatherhood and being a man and all these things. But this phrase kind of summarized everything succinctly. That phrase being, be strong enough to be gentle. And if you are a Transformers fan, that is actually from Peter Cullen, the classic and unmatched voice of Optimus Prime in the Transformers cartoons, movies, everything like that. So the story goes that Peter Cullen told his older brother, a former Marine who served in Vietnam, that he was going to audition for a hero in a cartoon show, something for kids. And his brother, this Marine from Vietnam, advised, well, Peter, if you're going to be a hero, be a real hero. Don't be one of those Hollywood heroes pretending they're tough guys. Just be strong and real. Tell the truth. Be strong enough to be gentle. So, as we know, he went into the audition, he nailed it, and he's been the voice of Optimus Prime ever since. And as I think to fatherhood, that is very important. Obviously, you're stronger than your child, so no, not going to be wrestling with my son, unless it's for fun, obviously. But more so beyond the machismo, I'm strong and I'm going to protect my family. You must also have the other side of yourself. You must be strong enough to be gentle. All the muscles in the world aren't worth anything if you can't be empathetic and kind and caring, if you can't hold someone when they need you. So this author here of this article offers a few bullet points on the saying, be strong enough to be gentle. He says, it bridges the dichotomy between strength and gentleness in relationship to leadership, masculinity here for our discussion. You can have strong convictions and make hard decisions, but remain empathetic. Very important. Don't pretend to be someone you are not. Authenticity is key. Unrestrained might through position or power is not always right. Leaders help others and elevate them along the way when possible. Truth is paramount. So, a couple of bullet points that I found in this article that I thought were worth mentioning. So as you are a father dealing with your children, make sure that you are strong enough to discipline them, strong enough to protect them, strong enough to carry them emotionally and physically, of course, but also be gentle enough to care for them, to give them a hug when they fall down, to put a bandage on their scraped knee, to bathe them and take care of them. your strength is more than the being buff like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It is supposed to be modeled after God, after Christ, after our Heavenly Father. That's the inspiration that I would like to tie us to. So from Transformers to some time in the Word here, as you think about working with your children, and anyone for that matter, what kind of example does God give us? And so you can think of God's strength, and when you do that, you might think of the examples in the Bible when God is wrathful, examples of God's wrath. So a couple of those being worldwide flood in Genesis, the destruction of Sodom, also in Genesis, the defeat of the Egyptians in the Moses story in Exodus, the suppression of the rebellion of Korah in Numbers, the Assyrian destruction of the 10 tribes of Israel in 2 Kings, the Babylonian destruction of 2 tribes of Judah, 2 Kings as well. But also in the New Testament, you see Christ, he gets angry at the hard-heartedness of the religious leaders from Mark. And he's also tossing tables, and he expresses anger in the temple in John. As we look ahead in Revelation, we also see plenty of examples of God's wrath during tribulation, at the second coming of Christ, and ultimately when he casts non-believers into the fiery pit in the lake of fire in hell. Those are examples of strength. God's a very loving being, but he's capable of breathing and speaking the universe into existence. He's incredibly strong. However, we do have examples of where Christ and God, the Heavenly Father, very strong, but he's strong enough to be gentle. And the example that I would give you today is from John and Matthew. In John, Christ says, "I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep." And ultimately, he would. Over in Matthew, there's the parable of the wandering sheep. "See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. What do you think? If a man owns 100 sheep and one of them wanders away, will he not leave the 99 on the hills and go to look for the one that wandered off? And if he finds it, truly I tell you, he is happier about that one sheep than about the 99 that did not wander off. In the same way, your Father in heaven is not willing that any of these little ones should perish." God is so strong. He can destroy the world. He can create anything he wants. He can move mountains. He can heal the sick. He can cure blindness, make the lame walk. And yet he's gentle. When the sheep wanders off, as we often do, us being the sheep, he still cares for that one sheep and rejoices when he finds it and brings it back to the flock. So, be strong enough to be gentle, my son. This message, like I said, is to myself, to anybody listening who's a father, to my future grandchildren being reared by my son and daughter. Be strong enough to be gentle. I'm talking about it here certainly as it pertains to having children, but out there in the world, as you're working with people and you're working in your marriage with your wife or your husband, be strong enough to be gentle. With that, I will leave you for today. I hope you enjoyed listening to Be Strong Enough to Be Gentle, probably the episode title. Go ahead and share the show with those around you. Check out the Save.store. Before your time is up, August 5th, it will be shut down permanently in this current fashion. So go grab some stuff while you can, and please listen on Spotify. With that, it's Monday as you're listening to this, so get after it. I will post the marathon workouts, and I will be recording with a guest here shortly. We had to cancel last week. Be on the lookout for that guest episode. Monday. Get after your workouts, get after it in work, and tell those around you that you love them. Husbands to wives is mostly what I mean, and to children, your kids. Give them a hug. I love you. God loves you. He's blessed us all. Don't forget that you are saved through Christ.